Peace is not at hand. Think of it as like California, multiple earthquake fault lines. So Middle East has the Israel-Iran fault line. There's Hezbollah, there's Hamas, in Gaza, there's the West Bank. All of these fault lines are going to be churning to one degree or another. At the moment, diplomacy has virtually no role, and these are going to be low or maybe medium intensity conflicts.
What happens if you stop talking?
Not a whole lot. Diplomacy hasn't shaped things. All these calls for ceasefire have been more rhetorical than real. And the real question right now, I think, how far does Israel plan to go in Lebanon? What's their definition of success? Will Israel introduce a strategic after policy in Gaza? Will they continue to militarize relations in the West Bank? And most important, what is Israel prepared to do or not to do when it comes to Iran, and how would Iran retaliate?
Richard, how concerning or how surprising is it to you the waning influence of the U.S. during this conflict here? It seems like Mr. Netanyahu and Israel is basically not paying much attention to the U.S.
Well, it seems that way because that's the way it is.
Yep.
He's discounted U.S. Pressure. Better to ask for forgiveness than permission is clearly his motto. He believes he has a base of support in the United States that could challenge any president if the president decides to move against him. Plus, this administration has made the mistake of putting almost all of its eggs in what I would call the persuasion basket. Persuasion is easy to push back against, rather than carrying out a serious independent policy. So for 12 months, we've implored the Israelis not to do certain things in Gaza, and for the most part, they've rejected us with no cost.
July 8th, 14 years ago, Richard Haass presiding, Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, at the Council on Foreign Relations. How is he different now from that afternoon, July 8th?
It's a good question, Tom. I think the biggest difference is the political context he's put himself in. He's surrounded by people to his far right, some of whom are literally messianic. And he, as a result, has constrained himself.
Right.
That, plus also his own personal legal challenges, has made him much more of what you might call a wartime prime minister.
And it almost goes to your important work in Northern Ireland years ago, in that as Admiral Stavridis used to say, look, it's 7 million people, I believe he said, 7 million Jews, I can't remember the exact quote, versus Iran with, I'm going to say, 90 million people. Do we understand the smallness of Israel and their requirement to have allies?
Well, it's the smallness of their population, also the smallness of their territory. So, Israel is vulnerable. Or, for example, Iran still has close to 3,000 ballistic missiles it hasn't yet used. No, Israel is dependent on the United States to a large degree for its qualitative military advantage. But again, the Israelis essentially assume that they have American support for the most part.